All right, welcome to Hoops Tonight here at The Volume. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope all of you guys are having an incredible week. Just got a quick film session for you guys today. I found it really interesting in the Knicks losing Game 3 to the Philadelphia 76ers last night. They unlocked Jalen Brunson. They finally got him going in pick and roll. And so we're just going to do a quick 12-clip film session where we go over the specific things that Jalen Brunson figured out to get going in pick and roll and whether or not that should translate further into the series. You guys know the drill. Before we get started, subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel so you don't miss any more of our videos. Follow me on Twitter at _JasonLT so you guys don't miss any show announcements. Don't forget about our podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts under Hoops Tonight. And then last but not least, keep dropping mailbag questions in those YouTube comments so we can keep hitting them throughout the rest of this playoff run. All right, let's talk some basketball. So one of the big stories, even in the Knicks winning the first two games, is the Sixers did a really good job defending Jalen Brunson, had him looking generally uncomfortable all over the floor, picking him up full court, excellent over-the-top pursuit in ball screens, and then really good backside help, Embiid at the rim, and then also digging down into driving lanes. And, there's this battle that takes place over the course of a playoff series between perimeter initiators and perimeter defenders. Like, generally speaking, think of it like Jaden McDaniels on Devin Booker, right? There's a battle there. And Jaden McDaniels has won that battle through two games, right? But we're going to go to Phoenix and see if maybe Devin Booker can figure out some things. And basically over the course of the 7-game series, either the perimeter defenders do a better job figuring out how to guard the guy that they're trying to guard, or the offensive player actually kind of solves the defensive player a little bit. And in this particular game, I thought the story was Jalen Brunson figured out some ways to get separation from the on-ball defenders, namely Kelly Oubre and Nick Batum. And as a result, the Knicks had their best ball screen game of the series by far. They scored 1.081 points per ball screen. That was their best game of the series as a team. Jalen Brunson personally ran 28 ball screens and generated 34 points on them, including him making shots and guys making shots off of his passes. That's 1.21 points per possession. That's an outstandingly good number. That's better than anybody did in the regular season in the aggregate. So obviously it's a single game, but a very efficient pick and roll game for Jalen Brunson after really struggling through the first two games. As a matter of fact, he had 39 points and 13 assists, was far more efficient in his field goal percentage than he was in the first two games, really figured some stuff out. Now, some specific things that I noticed on film, in general, it came down to three concepts, in my opinion. One, taking advantage of the holes that are there in the coverage. The Sixers were icing a lot of side ball screens, which we'll go over in the film. Essentially, that just means funneling them towards the sideline and essentially creating an opening in between where Embiid's waiting and where the guy's funneling. But in those ice coverages, Jalen was creating enough separation for rescreens or for Hartenstein to flip a screening angle so that he had more separation going into that soft spot in the ice coverage. Secondly, rejecting screens. That was a huge thing in this game where Brunson would get a guy to think he's about to go over the screen, take that first step over the top, and then whip it back across. And now he's got the defender completely out of position and he's got separation. And then lastly, the third piece of it, setting more screens further away from the basket so that Brunson can get a runway. And we're going to show examples of all of these, but so you can kind of see. But when you screen that far away from the basket, as Brunson gets over the top, if he gets separation, he can get some real downhill force before he runs into the next line of the defense, which just makes him that much harder to deal with. So let's go ahead and look at some tape and see how Jalen Brunson got going against the Sixers in Game 3. All right, so this first one here is an example of the ice coverage and how setting up your man for a rescreen gives you a better opportunity. So this is textbook ice, right? In this situation, Kelly Oubre's job is to funnel Brunson away from the screen this way, right? Joel Embiid, his job is to basically catch him somewhere around here, and there's usually an opening in this middle area here. But if Kelly Oubre can stay attached, then that opening's not really worth anything because Brunson's not going to be able to get that shot off with the back pressure. So one of the things he's trying to do here, he's going to fake like he's going, and then he's going to pull back. So since he pulls back, that buys Hartenstein an opportunity to reverse the angle of the screen and get on the other side of Oubre. Now that he's on the other side of Oubre, he's able to cross back over into the ice, but now he has the separation to get a good, clean look off in the mid-range. That's an example of that dynamic, that battle with Kelly Oubre in terms of getting separation that Brunson did a better job of winning in game 2. He knocks that jumper down. This next clip is an example of rejecting a screen. So, as I often talk about in this show, when a defender knows a screen is coming, there is a footwork element to it. Kelly Oubre is going to want to get this foot, his right foot, above Isaiah Hartenstein's right foot. Because if he does, then he can kind of sidle over the top of the screen and meet Brunson over here and take away the advantage. But if Brunson can wait until he actually gets that right foot over and then pull back across, Kelly Oubre is going to be screwed in terms of his ability to recover back in front. Let's watch as Oubre takes that step. Boom, right foot up top. Got it up over so that he can meet Brunson on this side of the screen, and then immediately we see Brunson pull it back. As soon as Oubre takes that, boom, as soon as he picks up that right foot and swings it, Brunson's going the other way. So now he gets really good separation. Now he gets downhill, and now he makes a good fake like he's snaking the pick and roll back towards that left-hand side, which opens up his ability to get back over to the right for the floater. Really nice work from Brunson there. This was an example of a play that I mentioned in the show last night where the backside defense for Philly wasn't particularly good, but this is Brunson taking advantage of a baked-in element of the coverage. So notice Batum is opened up towards the sideline. He is prepared for an ice coverage. He's expecting a ball screen to eventually come behind him, but he's just going to do his job, which is to force him back towards the sideline, right? But here's the problem. Over here, Joel Embiid is locating Hartenstein, and he's not paying attention. And so Brunson identifies this, and he basically sees like OG Anunoby's coming up to set a back screen for Deuce McBride's man, and he sees that Embiid's just not paying attention. So he knows Nick Batum is opening up, expecting Embiid to be waiting here around the Emirates logo, and he's not. So Brunson sees an opportunity to just toast him off the dribble, and he does. Embiid identifies it, but it's way too late. Also, nifty little step. Notice here, Brunson knows that Batum is a longer athlete than him, and he knows that he has an opportunity to get blocked off the glass. Watch this little backward step to just get into Nick Batum's body to create that extra little bit of separation for the layup. Really savvy play there. So now, once again, Batum is expecting an ice, right? So he sees the screen coming from Hartenstein, so he's opening up towards the sideline, right? But Brunson points down. Look at this. This is, I thought was really interesting. Brunson, you can actually see him wave him off, and he calls for Maxey instead. But Batum is still set up in an ice, and he's still expecting the exact same move that Brunson just made. He's expecting an aggressive move towards the baseline. So Brunson hits it here, just a little in and out dribble. Boom. And Batum jumps way back towards the left, which forces the switch. And so now Maxey is on Brunson, and then Brunson's able to go to work and one-on-one. This was the fun play where we started to see the little give and take with Brunson, and Maxey take shape where now he holds the follow-through in his face after getting him off the ground. This is funny. And he looks at him. Good stuff for Brunson there. All right, this is a good setup for a rejected screen. So first of all, we're getting that first kind of attempt at the screen further away from the basket, right? Which we talked about earlier, screens farther away. But now here we go. The screen looks like he's coming this way. Look at Jalen Brunson's body. His body language is squared up like he's going this way. He's got his hand set up for a push cross over to the right. His whole body's facing that way. Once again, watch that top foot for Oubre. Oubre is going to be trying to get that top foot up high. He does, gets the top foot up high. Brunson rejects the screen. Now Oubre's out of position. That allows him to get downhill easily. Once again, works back into the lane, pulls in Kyle Lowry, which generates the catch and shoot opportunity for Josh Hart. 13 assists in this game as well. Just really, really good playmaking out of pick and roll from Brunson. This one I thought was interesting because typically this screen would be iced because we're kind of close to the sideline, but I guess it is in the middle of the floor. So in this case, my guess is the coverage from Nick Nurse dictates in the middle of the floor. Just whatever you do, send Brunson towards his right hand instead of his left hand. The idea there is most players are more likely to take a pull-up jump shot towards their strong hand or towards their weak hand, and more likely to go all the way towards the rim with their strong hand. And so they're basically trying to take away stuff that's more towards the rim. So they're trying to send him towards his weak hand. In this case, though, this actually ends up being a missed tip dunk and a kick out, but it ends up being the exact same action in the exact same spot on the floor. Okay. So here we are, exact same action. Brunson kind of in the middle of the floor, ball screen coming. Once again, Batum's not letting him get to that strong hand, right? He's forcing him towards that right hand side. Brunson just takes advantage of that, puts him in jail. Now, again, Batum is completely opened up and allowing that drive down this way, which he takes advantage of to get and engage Embiid, which creates the opening for the pocket pass to Hartenstein. Taking advantage of easy reads that are available in the coverage. This is an ice coverage, but we know that there's an easy read here based on the tag from Tobias Harris, right? So we have a screen set far away from the basket. I think there's going to be a rescreen here, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we pull it out. Here's the other screen. Here's our ice, right? See how Batum jumps up high? Again, all he's trying to do there is funnel him towards the sideline, right? So Batum jumps up high. That's opening up this angle. Once again, Hartenstein, like I talked about, once you see this ice coverage, if you allow him to just to funnel him and stay attached, then there's no advantage as Brunson works into this area. But because Hartenstein flips the screening angle and screens him anyway, Brunson gets a little bit of separation. That pulls Tobias in down towards the nail. And again, Brunson just making an easy read here. There's no reason to make this more complicated than it needs to be. Just kick it to the open shooter. He can attack a closeout. All right, now let's talk about screening far away from the basket to generate a runway. So again, when you set these screens in this area, as you come off the ball screen, by the time you get separation, you're already down at the foul line and you probably don't have much of a head of steam and the drop coverage big is waiting for you. But if you set it out towards the logo, a couple of things. First of all, this guy's usually in ball pressure mode out here. He's usually not in screen navigation mode. They usually don't think screen navigation until they get set into the half court. This is more of a ball pressure type of situation. So Oubre is just completely unprepared for the screen. That allows him to get downhill. And now, essentially, we're covering with Embiid in space. Embiid is meeting Brunson out here rather than out here. That allows Brunson to hit the Jets a little bit. Look at that really aggressive push forward move. That puts Embiid on his heels, which buys the separation for him to rise up for that little short floating jump shot. Same exact thing here. Look at where Mitchell Robinson sets the screen. Mitchell Robinson is setting the screen at the logo. Kelly Oubre is not prepared for a screen either way because he's in a ball pressure situation. This is also what they call a level screen. So instead of a screen that's on either side of the player, you're basically screening his backside because no matter what, even if he just rolls off of the screen either way, he's at a disadvantage compared to the guy who's going with the full head of steam. So look at him. He gets downhill. And once again, kind of like we talked about earlier, when he's running downhill like this, Paul Reed's just had a huge disadvantage because he's got a head of steam and he's on his heels. Little low gather, textbook low gather from Brunson gets to his right hand off the glass. Same exact thing on this play that ends in a kickback to Josh Hart. So again, we're setting the screen out by the logo. Doesn't matter. Oubre's not in position. When he pulls downhill, he's able to drag both Oubre and Embiid down to the elbow, which puts a long closeout for Embiid to recover to Josh Hart. That gets Embiid out of position. Really nice drive. Way to get into Embiid's body to get to that left hand off the glass. Now, one of the adjustments we saw from Nick Nurse late in the game is they started bringing Embiid out to try to get Brunson to get rid of the basketball on these screens that are out by the logo. Quick and easy read here. Embiid's going to come out this high. Easy pocket pass to Hartenstein. And Hartenstein's just too big and athletic for these guys on the back line to slow him down. And this last one is actually another deep drop, but it's another screen out by the logo. So here we are out at the logo. Screen set. Again, Maxi's not really in any position to navigate. He's getting downhill. And in the process, he's able to engage Embiid cleanly. And look at this runway that Precious Achiuwa has to easily catch and finish along the baseline. So again, in the chess match of this series, so much of what New York does offensively centers around Jalen Brunson and ball screens, right? And that was a chess match that Philly won in the first two games, even though they lost, right? And interestingly enough, even though the Knicks lost game 3, I thought they started to gain some ground in the chess match of the ball screen. And again, like we talked about half court offense being one of the big indicators of the way this series is going to go, right? And the Sixers do have an advantage in half court offense, right? But this is a way to mitigate that advantage. And if the Knicks can shrink that advantage in the half court and make be more successful there in those Brunson ball screens, that is what allows your defense and rebounding and pushing in transition and just all your overall effort and toughness advantage that you cleanly have over Philly to kind of push you over the top. And so even though I do think Philly has a chance to tie the series, and I kind of give them a better than coin flip chance of winning game 4 and sending it back to New York, this is a strong indicator that the Knicks are progressing well to being able to win this series. All right, guys, that is all I have for today. Like I mentioned, we're actually not going tonight because I'm dealing with a personal family matter. So tomorrow morning, we'll have breakdowns of the Friday night games. And then Saturday night, we'll be going live after the final buzzer of Nuggets Lakers. I will see you guys then.